Every day, we move through a world obsessed with labels, eager to categorize and define us by the surface-level summaries that fit neatly into small talk and social media profiles. We're introduced by our professions, measured by what we do, where we came from, or what we earn. These questions, what do you do, where are you from, how much do you make, are the currency of everyday conversation. But behind this ordinary script lies something deeper, something rarely examined, something only a few dare to confront. The question no one ever asks openly, who are you really? This isn't about your job, your relationship status, or the accolades you can recite with practiced ease. Who you are goes far beyond the version of yourself that shows up at work, at family dinners, or in the highlight reel you curate for others to see. Strip away the job titles, and what's left? Step out from behind the list of achievements, the brand names, the opinions that echo back at you in approval or critique. Leave behind for a moment the projections people place upon you and the expectations you feel obligated to fulfill. When the masks come off, who do you become? Most of us spend so much time maintaining the armor of our identities that the raw, unfiltered self feels nearly forgotten. We learn which parts of ourselves to show, which parts to hide. We learn what seems acceptable, what will earn applause, and what might bring silence or rejection. The world rewards performance, not vulnerability. And so, as the years go by, the true self becomes like an old photograph, faded and tucked away. Familiar, yet somehow distant. But imagine for a moment, the lights are off, the doors are closed, no one is watching. There's no one to impress, no goals to tick off, no judgments to anticipate. In that unguarded silence, who are you? What do you actually believe, desire, fear? What are the stories you tell yourself when the world isn't listening? The dreams you quietly nurture, the secrets you keep, even from yourself. When approval and criticism fall away, you are left with the sound of your own breath, your own heartbeat, and the simple truth of your existence. Sometimes, people only glimpse their authentic self in rare moments, during late-night conversations with someone they trust, in the stillness before sleep, on long walks where thoughts drift freely. These slivers of authenticity can feel uncomfortable, exhilarating, even terrifying, because being truly seen means standing unmasked, and it means accepting the parts of yourself that don't fit the script written for you by the outside world. To ask who you really are is to challenge the foundations upon which you've built your identity. It's a question that demands honesty, humility, and above all, courage. It's easy to live life on autopilot, drifting between roles without pausing to reflect on what lies beneath. But the essence of you, your core values, your inner struggles, your deepest hopes and convictions, exists independently of circumstance or opinion. This essence is the answer to a question that's more powerful and transformative than anything that comes up at a dinner party or in a job interview. So before you move on to the next thing on your to-do list, pause. Ask yourself, without judgment or fear, who am I really, when no one is watching? The answer might not be simple, it might not be comfortable, but it's the real question, the only question that matters when all the noise fades away. And every meaningful journey, personal, creative, or professional, begins the moment you're willing to face that answer honestly. Every day, we step out into the world, dressed in invisible layers, each one carefully arranged, each intended to protect, to impress, to make us more palatable or more acceptable to those around us. But hidden beneath these layers is a version of ourselves that is honest, vivid, and rarely allowed to breathe freely. To truly understand ourselves and to experience genuine connection, we must take a closer look at the layers we wear and courageously consider what lies beneath. Let us begin with the most familiar, the public self. This is the version of you the world sees, the face you choose for the audience, whether that audience is a crowd, a classroom, colleagues, or even friends. The public self is curated, filtered, and composed. It's the smile you put on after a bad night's sleep, the steady tone you use even when you're trembling inside, the agreeable nod, the jokes, the steady professionalism, the self that has mastered the art of small talk. With the public self, you choose, consciously or unconsciously, which parts of yourself to present and which to leave behind closed doors. It's not deceit, it's protection, it's survival. But just beneath the surface is another layer, the perceived self. This isn't who you actually are, nor is it what you present. It's who you think others see when they look at you. The perceived self is built on guesses, on anxiety, on interpreting body language, tone of voice, or a passing comment. Maybe you worry about being seen as too loud, too quiet, too sensitive, or too distant. Maybe you constantly adjust, perform, or shrink yourself, always in an effort to match your perception of others' expectations. This guessing game keeps you on alert. You find yourself asking, am I fitting in? Am I making sense? Do they like me? You contort and twist, hoping that if you just get it right, you'll be safe from criticism or loneliness or rejection. Looming large is the ideal self, the version you aspire to become, the you who fulfills every expectation and meets every standard, whether set by yourself, your family, your culture, or your heroes. The ideal self is fueled by dreams, but often driven by perfectionism. You might imagine being more successful, more confident, more beautiful, more disciplined. This self is always a step ahead, always just out of reach, always demanding a little bit more. When you fall short, shame creeps in. When you get close, the bar shifts higher. The ideal self whispers that if only you changed a little more, you'd finally be worthy. And then, hidden under these layers, barely audible, often silenced, sometimes forgotten, waits the true self. The true self is not curated for public approval. It doesn't care about strategic presentation or performative excellence. It's not concerned with being impressive or even acceptable by anyone's standards but its own. The true self is raw and honest. It's scared, hopeful, passionate, angry, joyful. It's alive. This version of yourself contains your truest desires, your messiest feelings, your deepest wounds, and your greatest joys. This is the self that wants to laugh until tears roll down your face. The self that wants to cry openly. The self that wonders, dreams, feels hurt, or hopes for real love and acceptance. Too often, though, the true self is asked to step aside, to mute its voice, to comply for the sake of harmony, acceptance, or belonging. The true tragedy is that we spend so much energy maintaining the first three layers, polishing the public self, anticipating the perceived self, and chasing the ideal self, that we can lose sight of the true self altogether. The need to be impressive, to be liked, to be perfect becomes so consuming that you forget how it feels to just be. But Why do we guard the true self so closely? Why are we so afraid of letting the real us be seen? At the heart of this fear is the worry of being too much, too emotional, too intense, too different, too vulnerable. We fear that if we let the mask slip, if someone saw the whirlwind underneath, the anxieties, the quirks, the wounds, they would recoil. They would turn away. They would decide we're unworthy of love or connection or even respect. Alternatively, some worry that they're not enough. Not smart enough, not pretty enough, not interesting enough, not successful enough. There's a nagging voice that insists, if people really knew me, without the charm, the wit, the accomplishments, they'd see emptiness. They'd lose interest. Sometimes, the greatest dread is of being utterly alone. If you dared to show your real self, would anyone stay? Would anyone understand? Would anyone love you past the layers? These fears don't arise out of nowhere. They're born from early experiences, from moments of rejection or criticism when your vulnerable self was met with confusion, laughter, dismissal, or contempt. So, you do what humans have always done. You camouflage. You adjust the lighting and angle of the self you present, removing whatever seems inconvenient, unsightly, or unlovable. You say yes when you want to say no. You downplay your excitement or your pain. You put up walls so no one gets too close, just close enough. Yet the paradox is that this very protection can cost us the thing we crave most: genuine connection. Walls keep out hurt, but they also keep out love. Masks may help you fit in, but they keep you unknown. The more you hide the true self, the more you lose access to your own life force, your voice, your purpose, your joy. Here's the truth, waiting patiently beneath those heavy layers. The real you is not too much. The real you is not defective or lacking or unworthy of being seen. The real you has simply been buried under too many years, too many moments of trying to be acceptable. Each time you tried to control how you were seen, each time you performed for approval or toned yourself down for safety, you built another layer. But that unfiltered, vibrant, at times vulnerable self, that is your source of authenticity, of resilience, of true connection. The journey to becoming whole isn't about abandoning the public, perceived, or ideal selves. Each one has its part to play in your story. Rather, it's about remembering that they are just layers. Underneath them, the real you is waiting. To be acknowledged, to be trusted, to be loved. To begin that journey, you don't have to rip away every mask all at once. Pay gentle attention. Notice the moments you feel most alive, most honest, most connected. Notice, too, the moments you feel constrained, exhausted from carrying a self that isn't quite yours. And remember, each time you let someone in, glimpse your truth, you reclaim a piece of the self you thought you lost. In doing so, you create space for others to do the same. Authenticity isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. And when you choose, little by little, to honor the true self beneath it all, you'll discover the freedom and the belonging you've been searching for, layer by layer. Rediscovering your authentic self is a journey, one that calls for the courage, commitment, and a sense of curiosity about your own inner landscape. In a world full of the noise, demands, and expectations, it's easy to lose touch with the person you truly are beneath the surface. That's why having practical tools at your disposal can help set you on the path back to your real self. Here, we explore 3 powerful techniques. the 3 whys technique, the mirror practice, and the 5 core words exercise. Let's begin with the 3 whys technique. This deceptively simple exercise is all about peeling back the layers of your self-perception to reach what's truly at your core. Start by taking a quiet moment for yourself. Ask the first, and perhaps most important, question. Who am I? Allow your answer to surface instinctively, without judgment or overthinking. It might be a set of roles or labels you carry: friend, leader, artist, or caretaker. Or you may find more personal traits: creative, compassionate, resilient. But don't stop there. The second step is to interrogate that original answer. Why do I think that? This question pushes you to reflect on the reasons behind your self-identification. Is it because of experiences, feedback from others, or old stories you've told yourself? Digging deeper helps you distinguish between what you've absorbed from the outside and what you actually believe. Now, take it one step further. Ask yourself, why does that matter to me? This final why is the most revealing. It's where you encounter your true motivations, values, and desires. Maybe you find that being creative matters to you because it's how you process the world, or that calling yourself resilient reflects your pride in overcoming obstacles. Whether your answers are simple or complex, what matters is that you're becoming more conscious of the roots of your identity. Using the 3 whys technique regularly can guide you toward a more intentional and authentic sense of who you really are. Next, consider the mirror practice. While it may sound straightforward, this exercise can be deeply transformative. Set aside a few moments in a private space, standing in front of a mirror. Instead of just seeing your reflection as a familiar face, look yourself in the eyes. Pause, breathe, and say aloud, "This is me, right now, and I choose to grow." These words are a powerful statement of acceptance and intention. They acknowledge that you exist in the present as you are, yet you're also open to change and self-improvement. Over time, the mirror practice helps you break down internal barriers, quiet your inner critic, and build a foundation of self-acceptance and motivation for growth. It's not about perfection, but about meeting yourself where you are every single day. Finally, try the exercise of identifying your 5 core words. This practice is about distilling your essence into just 5 words, qualities or values that define your truest self, beyond the expectations of others. Reflect honestly. What words capture the heart of who you are when no one else is watching? Perhaps they are curious, compassionate, brave, independent, or joyful. Write them down and carry them with you, letting them serve as a compass as you navigate life's choices. When you're faced with challenges or decisions, revisit your core words. Ask yourself if your actions align with them, or if there's room to live more authentically. Together, these 3 tools offer a pathway to reconnect with the real you. Step by step, by questioning, affirming, and defining yourself, you rediscover your unique identity, cultivate self-compassion, and create space for genuine growth. And in doing so, you build a life that feels not only fulfilling, but truly your own. This is day 001, the very start of a 1,000-day journey, a path that stretches out before you, full of possibility, uncertainty, and promise. It's natural to feel both anticipation and hesitation at the start of something significant. The road ahead may seem long, but the secret isn't to sprint or skip steps. The secret is simply to begin, honestly and authentically. You don't have to transform yourself overnight. You don't need to suddenly wake up and be a new person tomorrow. That's not what this is about. Real transformation is gradual. A process, not a dramatic overnight change. It's about small, truthful steps, taken one day at a time, each one steadying your foundation and moving you forward. As you embark on this journey, remember that the first step is always the most powerful. It's an act of courage to start, to say, I'm willing to give this a try. I'm willing to see what's truly possible for me. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't have to know where the road leads. You just have to be willing to step forward in truth. Today's action step is simple but profound. Open your journal. This blank page is your safe space, a space where honesty counts more than perfection. In your journal, ask yourself one question. If no one judged me, if I didn't fear failure or rejection, who would I be? What would I do, say, create, or chase? Let yourself answer freely. Imagine a world where you're not held back by fear, shame, or expectations. Imagine you don't have to worry about being misunderstood, about making mistakes, or about not fitting in. Who would you allow yourself to become? What words would come easily from your lips? What creations would you dare to pursue? What dreams have you buried or written off as impossible? Don't rush your answer. Sit with this question for a moment, breathe deeply, and let the possibilities flow. Maybe you'd try your hand at painting or writing a book. Maybe you'd speak up more in meetings or have that tough conversation you've been putting off. Perhaps you'd travel, start a business, learn a new language, or simply be more loving and open in your relationships. Write it down. No matter how big or small, how outlandish or simple, this is your truth. A snapshot of the person you might become if freed from your internal chains. The act of writing it down is a powerful commitment. You're declaring, if only to yourself for now, the path you might choose if you gave yourself absolute freedom. Ask yourself, where did these fears come from? When did you start believing you couldn't be, do, say, or create? What would it take to set even a tiny piece of those worries aside, just for today? Remember, the transformation starts not with bold moves or giant leaps, but with a willingness to be honest about your desires. If you feel uncertain, that's normal. What matters most is that you show up with honesty. This is the foundation upon which everything else will be built, not just throughout these 1,000 days, but for the rest of your life. Today, choose truth. Trust that daring to ask yourself these questions is already an act of bravery. Now, I invite you to take it one step further. There's quiet power in sharing your intention aloud or in writing, no matter where you are. Leave a comment that says, I'm starting with truth. Day 001, I choose to grow. This declaration is simple but meaningful. You're planting your flag, making a public commitment, not to someone else's journey, but to your own. It might surprise you how much momentum a single declaration can create. Remember, this isn't a journey you have to take alone. Thousands of others are starting alongside you, each person at a different point, each with their own hopes and fears, each choosing to show up honestly. Your voice, your presence, and your truth add strength to that shared sense of purpose. By witnessing each other, we come to realize that growth isn't just possible, it's inevitable when we choose honesty and consistency. From here, all it takes is one step each day. Not a perfect step, not the biggest step, but an honest step. Today's is simply the willingness to ask yourself, Who would I be if I wasn't afraid? For now, you only need to answer that for yourself. The journey of 1,000 days will have its ups and downs. Some days you'll feel energized and inspired. Other days, you may feel frustrated or stuck. That's normal. Over time, those small, honest moments of effort add up to something incredible. Clarity, confidence, and real lasting transformation. Every idea you encounter, every prompt you reflect on, every honest moment adds another brick to the foundation you are building. Each day offers a chance to see yourself a little more clearly, to chip away at the barriers that hold you back, and to step more fully into the life you truly want. Growth doesn't happen in huge, dramatic bursts. It happens daily, quietly, as you consistently choose truth over comfort, honesty over pretense, action over inertia. The daily challenge is simply to show up as you are, to reflect, to take a small action, and to trust that over time, those small actions will add up. Today is just the beginning. You're not required to see the entire staircase. You only need to take the first step, and you've done that. The path will reveal itself as you move forward, as you collect new insights, new skills, and new confidence. You will discover what you're truly capable of along the way. As you close your journal for today, let yourself feel a quiet pride. You've started. You've chosen truth. You've devoted a few minutes to your own growth, to your own dreams. This is how change begins, not with shouting or fanfare, but with a simple choice to begin. If you're ready to continue this journey, make a commitment to return tomorrow. We'll be here with another idea, one insight, one prompt, one step forward. Subscribe or set a reminder for yourself. Start building a habit. With each day you return, you'll find a new opportunity to learn, to reflect, and to grow. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to fix everything overnight. Just one day at a time. One idea, one transformation. Over time, you'll look back and see just how far you've come, how much you've discovered about yourself, and how possible your own dreams really are when you show up for yourself consistently. This is your journey. You get to choose what it means, what it looks like, and how far you want to go. But for today, you've started with truth. Remember to share your intention in the comments. I'm starting with truth. Day 001, I choose to grow. It's your way of marking this moment, of turning a hope into a commitment. Tomorrow brings a new idea, a new step, and a new chance to move closer to the life you envision. But today, celebrate the courage it took to get started. This is day 1, the first step of a long and meaningful journey. And it all starts now, with you, with truth, and with the promise of growth ahead. So, pause for a moment. Breathe in. Remember this feeling. You're at the beginning. The road may be long, but every great journey begins with a single, honest step. You've already taken yours. Let's see where this path leads together. One day, one idea, and one honest step at a time. Come back tomorrow. We're just getting started.